Hello, welcome to Blueprints. I'm Bodine Sanders, your producer and host. A few weeks ago, I had a special guest on Blueprints, and that was the 1992 Olympic gold medal winner, Charles "Chip" Jenkins Jr. Now, today is a historic day. Joining me today is the 1956 two-time Olympic gold medal winner, Coach, I called him Coach when I was at Villanova, Mr. Charles Jenkins Sr., and joining him is his son, Chip Jenkins. Gentlemen, how are you?
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm well. Welcome to the program. Coach, we're going to start with you, Coach. Share with the viewers, your experience in 1956 Olympics that was in Melbourne, Australia. Tell me about that experience.
Well, it was an incredible experience because as it's advertised in this Olympics, they are saying that in order to make an Olympic team in track and field, it's the most difficult. And that holds true even back in 1956, because we had so many great competitors from the United States that in some events, for example, the high hurdles, the first 10 outstanding high hurdlists were from the United States. So they were all trying to consolidate themselves into three places in the Olympic team. And the same thing in the 400 meters that I ran in the Olympic trials. Lou Jones broke the world record in the 400 meters, and Jim Lee was second. He broke the world record, and I was third. I didn't break the world record, but I made the Olympic team, and that was my goal at the time.
That's wonderful information. I appreciate that. So here's my next question. When Chip started participating in track and field as a young whippersnapper, did you ever dream that he would go on to be an Olympic, not just a winner, but someone who participated in the Olympics? Was that part of the plan from your perspective? Maybe not from his, but from your perspective?
Not at all. He used to come home in elementary school, and he would say, "Dad, I won a race today." And I'd say, "Oh, that's fine, Chip." And I didn't take it any further than that. And my wife, she said, "Why don't you pursue that?" And I says, "I think I know what I'm doing." And the reason why I thought I knew what I was doing is because my friends who are Olympians, none of their children wanted to run track, or a few of them wanted to run track. So I wanted him to develop this on his own. When he went to Georgetown Preparatory School as a freshman in high school, he was on the track team, and I said, I think we have him now. Going back a little bit, I didn't think that he was, I didn't want to push for him to run track because I was in a friend of mine's house, Mal Whitfield, and he had at the time a lot of trophies and plaques, far more than I did. And I said, of course. I looked at those and I said, if a kid comes up and looks at those, he's not going to compete against that. So I went home and took my trophies and my medals and I put them in the closet. And that was one of the things I think that was helpful in Chip getting motivated to compete. And not only that, when he went to Georgetown Prep, he had a very, very good coach named Mike Horsey, who was willing to share with me Chip's running. When we went to track meets, Chip would come over to me and say, "What do I do next, Dad?" And so we caught on to that. He caught on to that. He was a great guy, and I appreciate him till this day.
Chip,
Yes.
now it's time for you to chime in. When you were going through the process, your journey from a young whippersnapper, did you ever dream about participating in the Olympics, not necessarily winning an Olympic medal?
No, I didn't actually, but I did want to participate in track. And what he's saying is not entirely true. And he's right. He did put his trophies up. I didn't see a whole bunch of trophies when I was growing up. I knew that he ran the Olympics. I knew that he had 2 gold medals. But one of the things that he did was he was an official at these indoor track meets at the University of Maryland. So he would take me there. So I would go to the track meets and I would watch all the great runners running in the indoor meets. And basically it inspired me because I wanted to run track. And that's probably one of the big reasons that I did run track. One, I was fast, but number two, I went to the track meets and saw all these great runners, and that was pretty inspirational to me. And yeah, I caught the bug watching the track. And after the track meets were done, I was able to jump on the track and run around the little indoor track when they were finishing up everything, because the meet was over basically. So that's really what inspired me to want to run as well.
I think the historical part, instead of me waiting to the end of this program, is I want to share with the audience, with my limited research, what I've discovered is the Jenkins family is the only family where the father won a gold medal, right, in the Olympics in 1956. And then the son ends up winning a gold medal in 1992 in the same event. Now, there are a number of combinations of people who have participated in the Olympics where maybe there's a brother and sister at the same time, maybe same event or a different event. They're just there at the same time. I'm sure there's tons of combinations, but based on my limited research, you're the only father and son that earned a gold medal in the same event. And I think that's history. Am I correct there?
I think you're correct in that.
You're correct. It is history. Yeah. It's African-American history, but it's history nonetheless.
It's still history. It's history from an African-American perspective. It's history from an American United States perspective. Right. And I was talking, Coach, to Chip. I sent him a little text message the other day. David Burkoff, check this out, Chip. David Burkoff won a bronze medal in 1992 at the Spain Olympics, the same Olympics you were at.
Okay.
In the backstroke. He's a swimmer.
Okay.
His daughter won the same bronze medal in the backstroke in the 100 meters, and she won it 32 years to the day. So that's what I mean by there's a number of different kind of combinations of winners and family members. But I think your accomplishment stands at the top. How do you guys feel about that?
Well, we're really honored about it. I feel very good about it because when I was coaching at Villanova, many people said, you don't want your son to go to Villanova because the father cannot coach his son. And we dispelled that myth. Chip he wouldn't listen to me in terms of cleaning his room, but he would listen to me every minute in terms of how to run track and field. So I was okay with that.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny. That is so funny. Well, listen, I remember, and I wrote about this in my book, the Chip being an upperclassman and his character and the way he carried himself. He was kind of like that quiet mentor for me, being a freshman in St. Mary's during your junior year, Chip. And so he doesn't remember, Coach, but I remember because as a football player and being so tall, I wanted to increase my quickness and speed. So I would come out and practice. And I remember asking you, could I practice with John Marshall and Chip and you said it was fine. So I would literally practice with those guys. And it was, when I tell you, Coach, when I knew I was without a doubt out of my field, right? I ran the 800 in junior high and high school. And the number that comes to mind, Coach, is 205 or 210. Right. But those guys were practicing at like 150, 155, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. So it took everything out of me just to practice with those guys, but it made me faster. So listen, that's my own personal memory. Let's just continue to talk about the Olympics. Have you been watching the Olympics, the 2024 Olympics?
Yes, I watched the Olympic trials intensely, and the track and field is just coming on board.
Yep.
I'm very happy about our Olympic team this year. It looks like we're going to have a very good track team like we did all the way back in 1956. That was an incredible team, and probably had more African Americans on that track and field team than any team at the time. I haven't made a count since that time, and also winners at that particular period of time.
Obviously, the Olympics in 1956 is different than it is today, right? It's more commercial, right? But in terms of the competition, what do you think is different, or what's the same? Does anything strike you, Coach?
Well, I think there probably, to be honest, I think there are probably more diversity from these other foreign countries in the Olympics. And this is why I think that they're winning as many medals as they're winning, because of that diversity. And I think that's very good. In fact, I think it's excellent. But during our time in track and field, we just dominated. And that's all I can say about that. I mean, we just dominated. And the teams were just, we African Americans got together in 1956 and says, hey, we got to win. We got to win for the country. We got to win for our schools, and we got to win for our cities and towns and localities. And that was our mindset. I was totally, I didn't want to come back to the United States without winning a gold medal. I was obsessed by that, maybe almost too much so, but it worked out for me.
Coach, were you a student when you won in 1956, or had you graduated?
I was a junior in college, and as a matter of fact, I went out for track in my sophomore year of high school, and 5 years later, I won an Olympic gold medal.
Wow.
Wasn't so easy for me.
I won 2 Olympic gold medals.
Was Ed Collymore on that team with you?
Well, no, he wasn't, but Phil Rivas was.
Okay.
When I went to Villanova, I was the first African American on a scholarship at Villanova University. Actually, it was Villanova College in my freshman year, and then they changed my sophomore year to a university. But I was the first African American. And I told the coach, Jumbo Elliott, that I would like to have some of my friends come to Villanova from Cambridge, Massachusetts. So he recruited that year Ed Collymore, Charles Stead, and Phil Rivas. So the 4 of us were from Massachusetts. Phil went to Somerville High School, but the 4 of us, and we went to Ringe Technical High School. So the 4 of us hung out together, of course, all the time. Phil Rivas, who was 5 feet 9 and 3 inches tall, jumped 6 feet 10 and 3 inches tall. And at the Olympic trials, we roomed together, and his event was on Friday. And Friday night, he came to the room and he was stunned, and he said, I made the Olympic team. And he wouldn't talk to me because he didn't want me to be nervous because my event was the next day. And I says, oh, don't worry about that. I'm going to make this team. And I did make the team the following day. So Ed Collymore and Charlie Stead were also on the relay team with me when we ran and won at the Penn Relays, several Penn Relay Championships of America. So and of course our coach was Tom Duffy, and who we thought was magnificent.
That was in high school.
And that was in high school, but in college they were 2 years behind me actually.
So the Penn Relays, was that kind of the qualifier, or it was a stepping stone?
I mentioned the Penn Relays because Villanova is very much known for the Penn Relays,
right?
And Penn Relay Championships. But I have to, it may sound like I'm bragging a little bit, but in 1955, Villanova had never won a championship of America at the Penn Relays. I anchored the sprint medley relay and we won. And an hour later, I anchored the mile relay and we won. And that was the first time that Villanova had ever won a championship of America relays. And that's the big relay. You win that and you get a wristwatch and you get a plaque, big plaque.
So Chip, with all the accolades, all of the stories you heard over the years, did it apply any pressure, or you were focused enough where you were like, listen, I'm not going to let that affect the way I continue my journey? What was your thought process?
I didn't really look at it as pressure. I never thought about somebody else's achievement, meaning my dad's achievements. I had to eat what was in front of me. So when I was competing, all the time I was competing, the thought of what somebody else did had nothing to do with what I had to compete against. The 400 track, the whole 9 yards, it's hard enough to compete and focus on what you need to do to be successful. So there was really never any type of pressure other than the pressure of the particular race or the people I had to compete against. Other than that, no, I didn't worry about, you can only do what you can do when you're running a 400. And there's things that you have to do. Whether somebody else ran a fast time, you can't focus on that. You've got to focus on what's in front of you.
This is absolutely the truth that Chip just mentioned to you. When we were at track meets, I can recall people would try to compare us, and I would get upset about it. And Chip said, "Don't worry about that, Dad. That doesn't bother me." And so I just let it go and let people say what they wanted to say.
Well, talk about, Coach. Talk about the excitement, how proud you are and were during his journey of competing and being successful, because you're still a father. You was his coach too, but you were still his father. So that had to bring joy.
Well, it brought absolutely joy. But I had to be sort of diplomatic in the sense that I was the coach at Villanova for men and women. And my wife always reminded me, don't pay more attention to Chip than I'm paying to the rest of the guys. And I think both Chip and I handled that pretty well. I was very happy because I could see in Chip's freshman year, he wasn't as good as a lot of the guys on the track team in his freshman year. But I told one of the coaches from the University of Pittsburgh, and he reminded me about it later, that he's going to be good. He's not going to be that good in his freshman year, but after that, he's going to be good. And the coach from the University of Pittsburgh and I was sitting down talking. He said, I laughed at you when you said that, but in his sophomore year, I could see the improvement his junior year, He says, and I was saying, oh my God, when is he going to graduate? He's killing us. So that advancement, I was very happy with. And then once when he was in high school, I talked to a friend of mine who was a great coach from Seton Hall. And I said, do you think my son's going to do well? He said, Charlie, I'm glad I don't have to lie to you like I do a lot of the fathers. Your son is going to be great.
Well, based on what I've just heard, Chip got his athletic ability from his dad, but he got his brains from his mom. So
that's absolutely true.
Wait a minute.
She was a whiz kid at one time. And when she graduated from law school, Boston University Law School, she was in a class of about 300 men. And she and Barbara Jordan were the only two women that graduated that year from Boston University Law School.
Not only that, her first year at Boston University Law School, she won the moot court competition for her entire class. Her and Barbara Jordan.
And explain what that is, because I'm not a lawyer.
So moot court competition is you have a particular set of facts. It's like you have to argue an appeal
with a real judge,
with three judges, usually from the faculty, and they judge your brief and they judge your argument, and they won the moot court competition for their entire class. Basically.
They were competing against the appeals.
They were competing against everybody in their first year class, and they won it.
Is that the same Barbara Jordan who's the politician?
Yes. A congresswoman, yes.
Congresswoman, yep.
Yes. From Texas. They're
from Texas, right, yeah. right.
I got some of my mother's brains, not all of them. Even though I'm an attorney, I got some of them. I wouldn't say I got all.
By the way, it's a small thing, but when you introduce me as Mr. Jenkins. I'm Dr. Jenkins, not an MD, but a doctorate in education.
Well, listen, I apologize. I haven't talked to you in a while.
No problem. But I earned the title of Mr. before I earned the title of Doctor.
Well, listen, I remember you as coach, and I got to tell you, walking on that campus at Villanova as a freshman, because I transferred from Cheney.
Oh.
Right? And so coming to Villanova, being one of 5 African Americans on the football team, and there were like 100 guys trying out for the team. And you know what that environment's like, seeing you in the old Jake Niven field house brought comfort, because it wasn't a lot of African American role models. And, you know, I'll never forget it. So I just want to thank you for being there. But like I said, Chip was a good upperclassman role model as well. And I just had a great freshman year, transferring from the environment of Cheney to Villanova.
Yeah, I'd like to interject here if I could. One of the things that and it may sound like bragging, but one of the things that I often say, that my track team at Villanova was the best track team that Villanova ever had. And the reason why I say that, and I say that I've said this at fairs at Villanova, but the reason why I said this is because on my team, we had 5 Olympians and brought back 4 Olympic gold medals. And it happened that I brought 2 of them, but Chip got a gold medal. So from the Jenkins family, Villanova has 3 Olympic gold medals from the Jenkins family.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're approaching the end of the program. If there's anything you want to share, please do so. Chip, how about you?
I just want to say that, I wish Team USA really good luck in the Paris Olympics, and I will be watching track and field, and very proud of the young men and women who have made the team.
I am too. And I want to say that I'm very happy that I chose to go to Villanova. Villanova did a great deal of things for me, and academically as well as athletically. And I had a great coach at Villanova, Jumbo Elliott. And so I'm happy with the Olympic win, and I'm happy with having gone to the school that I went to, Villanova. And I've received pretty much every award that Villanova has ever bestowed upon an alumnus, including the honorary doctorate degree after my earned doctorate degree, and as well as well, that's it.
And I'm glad I made the choice to go to Villanova. I had I had the best coach in the world. Definitely, because he got every ounce of whatever talent I had out of me. Because I did not have a lot of speed, but he was able to work things so I would have the talent to make the Olympic team. So thank you.
Well, listen, thank you both for being a guest on my show. I really appreciate it. I think it was informative. I think the audience and the viewers are going to really appreciate the conversation. So thank you again. Again, we've come to the end of the program, everyone. Thank you for your time. Stay tuned. There's more to come.